Beloved, today I stand before you to remind you of a powerful truth. God will turn your hardships into blessings. You may be walking through a season of struggle, facing challenges that seem insurmountable. But I want you to know this: your current circumstance is not your final destination. There is purpose behind every hardship. Too often we view adversity as punishment or an obstacle in our path, but I challenge you to change your perspective. Understand that your struggles are not there to destroy you, but to reveal your potential. Hardships refine us, they mold us, they shape us into the individuals we were always meant to be. They are part of the divine process. When you face adversity, it is important to remember the power of your perspective. What you see in the moment may not be the full picture. Challenges may seem like a setback, but they are actually setups for your comeback. How you respond to difficulty defines whether you rise above or remain stagnant. Shift your perspective, see beyond the immediate pain, and envision the blessing on the other side of your trial. And understand that God's timing is always perfect. In the heat of the moment, it can feel like the storm will never pass. But I tell you this, God has not forgotten you. His timing is flawless. The breakthrough, the blessing, the victory, it's all coming. But it will arrive at the precise moment when you are ready to receive it. In the middle of your storm, faith is your anchor. Faith is not just for the easy times. Faith is the belief that no matter how rough the waters are, God is with you. When the challenges come, faith is what holds you steady. It is that trust in the unseen, that confidence that God will bring you through. You may not understand how, but believe that He will, and you will see the transformation take place. And let me remind you, beloved, transformation is coming. Your hardship is not your end. It is simply the process of becoming the person God created you to be. Through the fire, you are being refined. What's happening inside of you now is preparing you for something greater. The weight you carry today is what will strengthen you to carry the blessings of tomorrow. God is using this time to prepare you for a bigger, brighter future. Let us have a heart of gratitude. Even in the darkest times, thank God. Thank Him for the strength to endure. Thank Him for the lessons, and thank Him for the blessings that are on the way. A heart of thanksgiving attracts God's favor and accelerates the process of transformation. So do not be discouraged. God is with you. He will turn every hardship into a blessing, every trial into a triumph, and every tear into a testimony. Your future is greater than your past, and the best is yet to come. Be encouraged. The breakthrough is on the horizon. Hardships are not random or coincidental events that simply happen to us. They are part of a divine purpose, a greater plan that is unfolding in our lives. Every difficulty you face carries within it the potential for growth, transformation, and revelation. It may seem unfair or even senseless in the moment, but there is always a deeper purpose behind the struggle. Just as a seed must be buried in the earth and endure the darkness and pressure of the soil before it can sprout into a tree, we too must go through seasons of difficulty in order to be nurtured, strengthened, and prepared for what God has destined for us. The process of hardship reveals to us areas in our lives where we need to grow. It uncovers the parts of our character that need refinement, and through the struggle we learn resilience, patience, and endurance. In those difficult moments, we are often forced to confront our own weaknesses, but it is through this confrontation that we discover the strength we never knew we had. Every challenge is a tool that shapes us into the individuals we were always meant to become. And every trial is an opportunity to unlock a new level of our potential. In fact, hardships serve as a means of aligning us more closely with our purpose. God does not waste a single moment of our suffering. What we perceive as a setback or a burden is often the very thing that pushes us forward into the future we were created for. There is a divine purpose in every season of pain. It is in these moments that we begin to understand who we are truly meant to be and what we are capable of. The hardships you face are not there to destroy you, but to build you up, to prepare you for a greater calling, a higher purpose. God is working behind the scenes, using every moment to refine and mold you into His masterpiece. While it may be difficult to comprehend in the midst of your struggle, trust that God is intentional in everything He allows to come into your life. Your hardship is not an indication of His abandonment or lack of care, rather. It is a sign of His investment in your future. He knows what you are capable of, even when you cannot yet see it. The challenges you face today are the stepping stones that will lead you to the blessings of tomorrow. Your faith, your character, and your ability to trust in God's timing are being developed in this very moment. Through these experiences, you will discover the depth of God's provision, the strength of His love, and the power of His faithfulness. So rather than viewing your hardships as obstacles to your happiness or success, begin to see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. They are part of God's plan for your life, a plan that is always for your good, even when the path is difficult to walk. How you perceive your circumstances has a profound impact on how you experience life. Perspective is more than just a way of looking at things. It is the lens through which you interpret everything around you. The challenges you face in life are not just neutral events, they are colored by the way you choose to see them. When you adopt a perspective of faith and hope, even in the midst of difficulty, your ability to endure and thrive is heightened. On the other hand, if you choose to see your hardships as insurmountable obstacles, they can easily overwhelm you. Your perspective shapes your reality. Two people can go through the same difficult experience, yet their outcomes can be entirely different depending on how they view their situation. One may see the difficulty as a punishment or a sign of failure, while the other sees it as an opportunity for growth, an invitation to trust God more deeply. The power of perspective lies in the ability to choose how you respond to adversity. It is not about denying the pain or difficulty, but about choosing to focus on the greater purpose that lies behind it. When faced with a challenge, the first step is often to acknowledge your feelings of fear, frustration, or uncertainty, but then to take control of how you respond. Shift your focus from the problem to the potential for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this situation bring me closer to the person I am meant to become? When you begin to see your trials as opportunities for personal development, you free yourself from the emotional weight that can hold you down. That perspective also helps you align yourself with the promises of God. God's word teaches us that He works all things together for our good, even the things that seem to be working against us. This means that no matter how bad a situation may appear, God is actively involved in it, using it for your benefit. When you shift your perspective to align with this truth, you begin to view hardships through the lens of God's sovereignty and His faithfulness. Instead of feeling defeated, you can rest in the assurance that God has a greater plan in mind, one that will ultimately lead to blessing. Your perspective can either limit or expand your vision of the future. If you see your current circumstances as permanent or final, you may feel stuck, as if there is no way out. But a shift in perspective opens up possibilities. It allows you to see that your current hardship is just one chapter in a much larger story. In every challenge, there is the potential for transformation, for breakthrough, for something new to emerge. When you adjust your perspective, you begin to recognize that no situation is ever beyond redemption. The ability to maintain a positive perspective in the face of hardship also invites others into your journey. Your perspective not only affects your life, but can also inspire those around you. When others see you choosing faith, peace, and resilience in the midst of trials, they are encouraged to adopt a similar mindset. Your example becomes a powerful testimony of God's ability to turn struggles into blessings. So understand this, the way you choose to view your challenges has the power to determine your success in overcoming them. Perspective does not change the reality of the situation, but it can radically change how you navigate through it. When you look through the eyes of faith and hope, your hardships become stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. With the right perspective, the very challenges that seem to be holding you back will become the tools that propel you forward into greater blessings. In life, we often find ourselves wrestling with the concept of time, especially when things don't seem to unfold as quickly as we would like or in the manner we expect. We are taught to desire immediate results, to want things on our terms, and to control every aspect of our journey. Yet the truth remains that God's timing is always perfect. even when it doesn't align with our human desires or expectations. Trusting in God's timing means surrendering our own understanding and allowing His wisdom to guide us through the waiting periods and challenges that are a natural part of life. Faith in the face of adversity requires a mindset that does not give up in the face of difficulty. It means holding on to hope when everything around us says there is none. It means choosing to trust in God's word when our circumstances seem to contradict it. Faith is knowing that the same God who was with us in the good times is still with us in the hard times. It is having the courage to take that first step, even when the road is uncertain, because we know that God has already gone before us and will lead us through the trial. There is something deeply transformative about walking by faith when everything else seems to be falling apart. Faith is a declaration that our trust in God is not based on our present circumstances, but on the unshakable truth of His promises. When we face adversity, we are presented with an opportunity to experience God's power in ways we might not have in times of peace. It is in these struggles that our faith can grow stronger, as we learn to lean on God more deeply and experience His provision and protection in a personal, tangible way. Faith in adversity also calls us to persevere. It calls us to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead seems unclear. When we are facing opposition, it can feel like taking one step forward only leads to 2 steps back. But faith tells us that even in these setbacks, we are making progress. Adversity is not the end, it is part of the process. The trials we face today are preparing us for greater things tomorrow. Every hardship is an opportunity for us to rely on God's strength, to build endurance, and to emerge stronger and more equipped for the next phase of our journey. It is important to recognize that having faith in the face of adversity does not mean we will always have immediate relief or an easy resolution. There may be moments when the storm continues to rage, when the pain lingers, or when the pain lingers, or when the answers we seek do not come right away. But in those moments, faith calls us to stand firm, knowing that God is working on our behalf, even when we cannot see it. Faith is trusting that God's plan is greater than our understanding. It is believing that in His time and in His way, He will turn our trials into triumphs, our pain into purpose, and our setbacks into comebacks. The power of faith in adversity is that it shifts our focus from the problem to the solution. Instead of allowing fear, doubt, and discouragement to consume us, faith helps us to focus on the one who has overcome the world. It helps us to remember that God is not only present in our struggles, but He is also the solution to every challenge we face. Faith empowers us to see beyond the immediate difficulty and trust in the eternal truth that God is in control and that nothing is too difficult for Him. When we choose faith over fear, we align ourselves with the strength that only God can provide. Faith has the power to move mountains, to change circumstances, and to bring peace that surpasses understanding. It anchors us in the midst of life's storms and holds us steady when everything else around us is shifting. Faith does not guarantee that adversity will not come, but it guarantees that we will never face it alone. So even in the hardest moments, we are called to stand in faith. We are called to trust in God's plan, His timing, and His faithfulness. As we face adversity, let us hold on to the truth that God is greater than any challenge, and that through faith, we will overcome. The victory is already secured in Christ, and through Him, we can rise above every hardship. Faith in adversity is not just a response, it is a declaration of God's greatness and His unshakable love. And in that faith, we find the strength to keep moving forward, knowing that the best is yet to come. Transformation is a process that often begins in the most unexpected and sometimes painful of places. When we go through hardships or periods of challenge, it can feel as if we are being broken down, torn apart, or pushed to our limits. But in reality, this process is one of the most profound aspects of God's work in our lives. True transformation happens not in the absence of difficulty, but through it. It is through trials that God often shapes us, molds us, and refines us into the people He has called us to be. At the beginning of any transformation, we may not recognize what is happening. We may feel lost, overwhelmed, or confused, unsure of the reason for the struggle or the purpose behind the pain. However, God is always at work, even in the midst of our trials. Every challenge, every hardship is an opportunity for us to grow and to evolve into something better, stronger, and more aligned with God's purpose for our lives. God doesn't waste our pain. He uses it to teach us, to build our character, and to draw us closer to Him. Just as gold must be refined in the fire to remove impurities, so too must we endure the refining process that leads to a more pure and resilient version of ourselves. Transformation is not always immediate. It is a journey, sometimes slow and gradual, where we begin to see the subtle changes that are happening within us. In the midst of the struggle, it can be difficult to see how things will ever get better or how we will ever change. But God works behind the scenes, preparing us for what is to come. The pain and hardship we experience today are not our end. They are part of the process of becoming who God has destined us to be. The setbacks and struggles that we face are simply shaping us, preparing us for greater things ahead. Each day of adversity is another step in the direction of our transformation. This transformation is not just about changing our circumstances, but about changing who we are on the inside. It is about developing the qualities and characteristics that reflect the nature of Christ. We may find ourselves growing in patience, learning to trust more deeply, or discovering new strengths we never knew we had. Through the refining process, we begin to see the areas of our character that need to be strengthened or adjusted, and God lovingly works within us to make those changes. Transformation happens in the quiet moments of surrender, in the willingness to be shaped by God's hand, even when it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes the transformation is so deep that it is difficult for others to recognize us after it is complete. What was once weakness becomes strength. What was once doubt becomes unwavering faith. What was once fear becomes boldness. Transformation allows us to step into a new version of ourselves, one that is more equipped, more resilient, and more able to handle the blessings God has in store for us. The challenges we face and the ways we choose to respond to them shape us in ways that will empower us to take on greater challenges in the future. And through it all, transformation leads us closer to our purpose. The struggles we face are not distractions from the path we are meant to walk. They are integral parts of that path. God uses every moment to prepare us for the work He has set before us. As we go through transformation, we become more aligned with the purpose He has designed for us, and our lives begin to reflect more fully the potential He has placed within us. This alignment brings peace and fulfillment as we recognize that even the hardest moments were necessary in order for us to become who we were always meant to be. It is also important to understand that transformation is not always a one-time event, but an ongoing process. God does not just transform us once and leave us to our own devices. Every season of life brings with it new opportunities for growth and change. We are continuously being refined, continuously being shaped, and continuously being prepared for the next phase of our journey. The more we embrace this process, the more we grow, the more we become who we were always meant to be, and the more we can walk in the fullness of God's blessings. In times of difficulty, remember that God is working in you even when it doesn't feel like it. Trust that He is transforming your life in ways that are beyond your understanding. Every hardship, every setback, and every challenge is a part of the divine process that is shaping you into the person He has destined you to become. And in the end, you will see that the transformation that took place within you was worth every struggle. It is through these trials that you are made ready for the greater blessings, the greater purpose, and the greater destiny that God has prepared for you. Transformation is not about what you go through, but what you become through it. And as you allow God to shape and mold you, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with His plan than ever before. Gratitude is not just a fleeting emotion or a polite expression of thanks. It is a profound attitude that has the power to transform our perspective and the way we experience life. Throughout life's journey, we often encounter moments of difficulty, frustration, and disappointment. In these moments, it can be tempting to focus solely on what is wrong, what is lacking, or what is not going according to plan. However, cultivating an attitude of gratitude in these very moments has the potential to shift our focus from our struggles to the blessings we still have, even amid adversity. Gratitude enables us to recognize that despite our challenges, we have much to be thankful for. When we are on a journey, whether it is a season of waiting, a time of testing, or even a period of great success, it is easy to get caught up in what lies ahead, what has been lost, or what has yet to come. But gratitude calls us to pause and reflect on the present moment. It helps us to recognize that the journey itself is a gift, even if it does not always look the way we imagined it. Gratitude helps us embrace the process, understanding that each step we take, whether forward or backward, is part of the greater picture God is painting for us. Even the smallest moments, the quiet victories, and the lessons learned through struggle are all worth appreciating. In times of adversity, gratitude has the unique ability to shift our perspective from one of defeat to one of empowerment. It can be easy to become consumed with what we don't have or what we have lost. But gratitude reminds us of what we still possess: our faith, our resilience, and our ability to move forward. It helps us to see the value in the things that might otherwise go unnoticed: the lessons learned, the strength gained, and the character developed. Gratitude is the lens through which we can choose to see our circumstances with new eyes, realizing that even in the darkest of times, there is always something to be thankful for. This is not to say that we should ignore the difficulties we face or pretend that hardship does not exist. Gratitude does not diminish the reality of pain, but it gives us the strength to endure it. It anchors us in the truth that no matter how tough the journey gets, we are not walking it alone. We are surrounded by the grace and love of God, and we are never without His presence and guidance. Gratitude allows us to hold on to the bigger picture that there is purpose in our journey, even when we cannot see it clearly. At the same time, gratitude allows us to acknowledge the people who walk alongside us. Often we can become so focused on the destination that we overlook the significance of the relationships we build along the way. Gratitude helps us recognize the role others play in our lives, whether it is a word of encouragement, a shoulder to lean on, or simply their presence in our lives. These connections are not to be taken for granted. They are part of God's plan for us, helping us navigate through life's twists and turns. As we journey through life, we must also recognize that every season, every challenge, and every triumph contributes to our growth. Gratitude helps us see that there is purpose in every season, even the ones that feel difficult or discouraging. Every trial we endure shapes us and prepares us for what is to come. Every success, no matter how small, is a reminder of God's provision and His faithfulness. In the moments of success, we are reminded to thank God for bringing us this far. In the moments of struggle, we express gratitude for His strength to continue. Gratitude acknowledges that every part of the journey has a purpose and that God is using it all to shape us for our destiny. Embracing gratitude also gives us the ability to appreciate the things we might otherwise overlook. Gratitude calls us to notice the beauty in the small things, the moments of peace in the midst of chaos, the moments of stillness in the hustle, the fleeting moments of joy in the midst of hardship. Gratitude allows us to take a step back and see the blessings in the everyday, to recognize the miracles that occur not only in the big events, but also in the quiet, ordinary moments of life. Finally, gratitude deepens our relationship with God. As we acknowledge His faithfulness, His provision, and His constant presence on our journey, our hearts are filled with awe and reverence for His goodness. Gratitude fosters a deeper connection with God, as we recognize that everything we have, everything we are, and everything we experience is a gift from Him. Through gratitude, we open ourselves to greater levels of intimacy with our Creator and gain a deeper understanding of His heart. In the journey of life, gratitude is not just a response to the good things that happen, but a choice that we make every day. It is a choice to focus on what we have rather than what we lack, and to see the beauty in the process rather than only in the destination. Gratitude has the power to transform our journey from one of mere endurance to one of joy, peace, and purpose. When we choose gratitude, we find ourselves more connected to God, more aware of the blessings around us, and more open to the transformation that He desires to bring about in our lives. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the fullness of the journey and opens our hearts to the abundance of blessings God has for us.